G'day guys and gal! If you're feeling a little bit of deja vu right now, then it's not just because your sanity is slipping. A few years ago, I made a similar video to this one. However, as old Majorkill was a bit too much of a try-hard edgelord who had no concept of actual humour, hence just tried to say the most outrageous things possible for attention, that video was removed by YouTube. Probably not the worst thing, as when I made that video, my knowledge of 40k was actually quite poor, and the list probably wasn't very good. It's the same kind of issue that occurred with my top 10 Space Marine chapters video, where I had no idea what I was talking about, and I listed the Custodes as the #1 best chapter. God damn, I'm a retard sometimes. Hence I thought, stuff it, let's remake the video armed with way more knowledge, a little bit more maturity, and an extra 10 pounds of muscle. Before we get started, I just moved out into my own place and I need your help. I want to buy the most gimmicky but actually good shit ever. So far I've bought a galaxy projector, and I'm trying to convince Monster to send me a branded mini fridge where I can store the slab of Monster energy drinks that I just bought. But if there is something you have that is random but awesome, maybe a really cool liquor cabinet, then shoot it through to me and I might just buy it. Being in my own place means a big upgrade to the production quality of these videos is on the horizon, and I'm very keen to share them with you. Today I will list the top 5 most powerful Primarchs. The Primarchs will be compared at the peak of their natural power. So if Lorgar's on this list, he's not on this list, then we would look at the power just before he became a demon prince. Also, power isn't only defined by strength or combat prowess. Guilliman is a lesser fighter than Angron, however his impact and power is significantly higher due to the power that comes from his organizational skills. That as well as the fact that Angron is a walking abortion advertisement. Let's get into it. Our number 5 place goes to my personal favourite Primarch, Lionel Johnson. When I first heard about the Lion, I thought he was black. L Johnson sounds like a hectic basketballer name, so I was pretty surprised to learn that he was one of the widest Primarchs there was. Mr. Johnson is both a brilliant commander and swordsman while suffering from arguably the largest case of Asperger's out of all the Primarchs. I genuinely believe that Chaos couldn't corrupt him not because he's super loyal, but because his Spurg brain couldn't be cracked by Chaos. What makes him so powerful? Well, unlike most of his other brothers, the Lion doesn't have like a special ability. He can't move shit with his mind like Magnus or fuck chihuahuas like Lehman. I mean, he probably can, but he chooses not to. The Lion makes up for this by the fact that he is just so damn excellent at everything else, except for his social skills. His commanding skills were legendary, with the Dark Angels being one of the most successful legions during the Great Crusade. His mental willpower was unbelievable, with him easily passing any test cast through at him, as well as being able to overpower a million-year-old Super Xeno through sheer mental might. Or maybe that was just the spurginess. Either way, still impressive. Not to mention, his swordsmanship was legendary. He was so good at swords play that when he was fighting Conrad Curse, he was able to win despite Conrad being able to see the future. This is because A, the Lion was able to subconsciously change his attack mid-swing, hence messing with Conrad's foresight, and B, just because you can see something that's about to happen doesn't mean you can always stop it. If Stephen Hawking foresaw that in 10 seconds the Rock would come in and curb stop the shit out of him, he's not going to be able to stop that. Same thing here. The Lion was the second pick for War Master after Horus. He might have even been the favourite pick if it weren't for the fact that the Emperor knew that whoever became War Master would eventually fall to Chaos. And finally, the dude's a fucking Space Knight. Hell yeah. On to number 4, we now have the cooler emo. Eat shit, Conrad. We have Corvus Corax, Primarch of the Raven Guard. I would say Corvus is easily the most underrated Primarch around, due to the fact that the Raven Guard were one of the loyalist legions to get sodomized on Istvan III, and Corvus's attempts to rapidly rebuild the legion resulted in him accidentally creating a bunch of feathery abominations. Cheers for that one, Alfarius. However, these circumstances, if anything, prove that he is easily in the top 5 most powerful Primarchs. The fact that out of the 3 loyalist Primarchs on Istvan, he was the only one to escape should really speak to this. Unlike the Lion, Corvus does have a special ability. Well, now he has like 10, but we'll get to that. Corvus is able to make himself invisible. Kind of. Whilst machines can still detect him, he can make it so that living beings cannot see him, even if he is right in front of them. On top of this, Corvus seemed to be one of the few loyalist Primarchs to truly embrace his warp powers, as he gained the ability to detect chaos and also turn into a demonic bird entity, which now just stalks Lorgar. Yes, I'm not joking. Corvus can turn into a demon without the help of chaos or requiring him to give up his soul. Even without his demon form, Corvus was one of the greatest warriors out of all the Primarchs. Lorgar was warned that he had to avoid Corvus at all costs, otherwise he would die. Lo and behold, dumbass Lorgar ends up fighting Corvus after Corvus started killing his favourite sons like they were terminal chemo patients. Now when Primarchs fight, often one is the better warrior and will win, however it will always be a good scrap. When a wounded Guilliman fought a fresh berserk Angron, he was actually able to fend him off for a little while. However, when Corvus fought Lorgar, he bodied the living fuck out of him. It wasn't even close. All Lorgar did to Corvus was break his nose, which Corvus actually let happen as a way of saying fuck you to Lorgar. In return, Corvus disemboweled Lorgar and severed his spine. Lorgar only survived that because Conrad intervened at the last moment. With his legion shattered and only barely escaping with his life, Corvus quickly regrouped and went back on the offensive, sabotaging traitor supply lines and doing the damage of a legion with only a handful of troops. After the Horus Heresy, he vowed to hunt down and kill his traitorous brothers, which, pretty much every loyalist Primarch did to be fair, hence he went after Lorgar. At this point, Lorgar had unlocked his power and even became a demon prince. He was significantly more powerful than he was when he first fought Corvus. When the brothers once again came to face, Lorgar got raped even harder than the first time, and ran away like the little kitty fiddling bitch he is. Hell yeah, Corvus. This next pick will be controversial, as everyone, including me, has put Sanguinius as our number 1 most powerful Primarch at some point. However, this just isn't the case. He's number 3. It's true that as a warrior, Sangi's power is on another level. He held back the entire army of Chaos at the Eternity Gate by himself, and he has bodied the best greater demons around. Other combat Primarchs like Lehman have said they wouldn't stand a chance against Sangi, and Lehman was able to beat a Chaos-empowered Horus. The only reason why Sangi died to Horus in current lore is because he was exhausted for more or less taking on Chaos by himself for a bit. That, plus Horus was basically just a meat suit for all the Chaos gods, and his power was a bit silly by that point. Case in point, Sanguinius was incredibly powerful, but only as a warrior. In terms of his ability to organize, command and outplay, he was pretty lacking.
But Majorkill, he was able to turn the Blood Angels from a group of savages to a legion of noble warriors.
Shut the fuck up, Timmy, you plump little midget. Being able to discipline your children isn't an indication of supreme power. In all other aspects, bar being a pretty little angel and being great at killing shit, Sanguinius falls short. The Angels did not have a particularly impressive record during the Great Crusade, and Sanguinius was generally following his brother's lead rather than leading on any joint campaigns that they did. Now I'm not saying he was a shitty commander or leader, that title goes to Angron. No, he was okay, and the fact that out of all the Primarchs, he scores the 3rd spot is such a fucking massive testament to the impact he had as a single unit. Dude takes down titans, like damn. He also has the ability to see the future, which probably hindered him more than it helped, considering the future of 40k is always incredibly depressing. If Sangi spent less time sulking about how his kids are faggy little vampires, and more time learning war tactics beyond flying at the enemy with a big ass sword, then he easily could be number 1. It's no coincidence the majority of Primarchs on this list have been loyalist. After all, even with the 3 loyalist legions deleted from the get-go, with another 3 unable to properly participate in the Horus Heresy, the trade is still lost. However, you have to give credit where credit is due. Horus is a beast. He was similar to the Lion in the way that he did not have any spicy superpowers, but instead he was just great at everything. It was always a close competition between the Lunar Wolves, Ultramarines and the Dark Angels for the title of most planets conquered during the Great Crusade, and Horus was named Warmaster. Even if the Emperor did this because he was willing to sacrifice Horus, it's still a massive testament to Horus's power. After all, if the Emperor just wanted to neck whoever became Warmaster, I'm sure he would have just put Angron or Lorgar up there. Horus did have a unique gift however, a gift that allowed him to nearly destroy the galaxy. He was unbelievably charismatic. He could read people so easily to a point where he convinced half the Primarchs that selling their souls to hell would be a good idea. Legit, like, Morty fucking hated the warp, fucking hated chaos, and thought psychers were gay as, but Horus still was able to convince him to join the side that has the warp, chaos, and a shitload of psychers. Without this charisma, he would never have been able to secure Morty, Perturabo, or Fulgrim, meaning he would have just been stuck with the super shit Primarchs, like Angron. I do want to note though, that Horus wasn't just a commander, the dude was a mean fighter. He loves to cripple people with his claws, then bludgeon them to death with his fuck off huge mace. Russ held Horus in very high regard as a warrior. He's pretty much the jack of all trades without the spurginess of the lion, which is why Horus is the second most powerful Primarch. Time for number 1. Who is the most powerful Primarch? Who has the largest impact? Who could build the best sandcastle? None other than Rogel Dawn. I honestly surprised myself by putting him as number 1, but the more you think about it, the more sense it makes. People think of Rogel and they think of a good defender, but he's just so much more. At a base level, Rogel was a god tier swordsman. He killed Alfarius, Megan, in a straight up duel, and was also able to easily beat the demon Primarch Fulgrim in a fight as well. Considering Fulgrim had previously killed Ferris in a fight and would go on to put Guilliman in a coma, this is a big achievement. But it's not his underrated sword skills that got him to number 1. It's the fact that Rogel was able to successfully coordinate the defense of the Imperial Palace against an enemy army with triple the numbers and firepower. He was able to make each of his Astartes worth 3 of the enemies. Every meter of ground the traders took could be measured in their own blood. In terms of his abilities, his superpower isn't wild on the outside, but when you think about it, it's actually very impressive. That power being that the warp literally bends and suffocates around him, despite the fact that he isn't remotely a blank. He is able to overpower it through sheer will alone. Like Chaos didn't even try to turn Rogel to their side because they knew it wouldn't achieve anything. Considering that they attempted to turn the Lion, who as we have established is way too spurgy to fall to Chaos, that is a big deal. With his legendary swordsman skills, god tier commanding abilities, and his unbreakable will, Rogel Dawn is the most powerful of the Primarchs. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Only $1 per month give you access to a boatload of Warhammer hentai. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more Prime content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.